there, welcome to Magnetic Mama, the podcast where we parent with nervous system wisdom, soul-led grit, and zero shame. I'm Steph, a holistic nurse, writer, and a mum who is keeping it real in the chaos. I'm giving you permission to raise resilient kids without losing yourself, because when you thrive, your kids can too. So let's get into the messy middle and find our magic.
Hey, beautiful humans. It's been a hot minute, a really hot minute. It's been a while since I've sat behind this mic and even written a proper Substack. And it's been hectic. I don't know about some of you guys, but 2026 is snowballing and rolling into winter in Australia already. It's mid-May, and it's been a while since I've really allowed myself to slow down and, listen to what's actually going on inside. There's a reason for that, and it's called life. My life has been hectic. It's been chaotic, messy, expansive, and if I'm really honest, straight up, it's been overwhelming. And not necessarily because anything's wrong, and not because my life's falling apart, but actually quite the opposite, because life is actually starting to expand for me and I'm expanding with it. And sometimes that expansion can feel like chaos before it actually starts to feel like clarity. So today I wasn't actually planning to record this, not at all. I had a very long list of emails, systems, clients, website stuff, follow-ups, admin, meal prep, shopping, laundry, business things, kids things, life things, all the things. And every part of my mind was saying, come on, Steph, get productive, be efficient, tick the boxes, don't waste the day. And yet my body was saying something very different. So I took a moment, I booked in my Pilates class and listened to my body because I just needed a minute. I could feel, my chest was a bit tight. I've been clenching my jaw. My mind was racing. My calendar felt heavy. And my patience has been pretty thin for a little while now. And I could this old pattern creeping in. There's a pattern that I identified a while ago, and it started knocking on my door, on my little intuition door. And if you know, you know. But that subtle spiral, like saying yes too quickly, overcommitting, overthinking everything, over-explaining, trying to hold everything, trying to be everything, trying to keep everyone happy, trying to do it all, and somehow still make it look graceful, which I never do, by the way, but at least trying to look like I've got it together. And a lot of my life has been like that pattern. It kind of looks like capability. It looks like ambition. It may have looked like leadership. It might look a bit like, oh, she's got everything. But underneath it, it often has looked more like stress, hypervigilance, over-responsibility, people-pleasing, perfectionism, and eventually overwhelm, which leads to freeze and procrastination, and literally not getting anything done. So what's been happening? Well, for me, this pattern has escalated because I bought a business. Yep. Because apparently my nervous system thought, sure, Steph, this seems like the perfectly calm time to do that. And honestly, I'm actually pretty proud of myself to have found something that feels kind of cool, exciting, and something I can do. So I do feel proud of myself. And there was a version of me years ago who wouldn't have believed she could do things like this, like buy a business, back herself, take risks, lead teams, build communities, create something bigger than herself. And yet here we are. But let's be fair. I have done things similar in the past, but not necessarily on my own. So this has an extra layer of fear in it. So here we are, buying a new business, which is Peninsula Body Contour. Just a little plug there. But it's a beautiful body contouring clinic. So this is new to me. I'm learning as I go. Obviously, I understand what it is and what it does, but how this operates is like a whole new ballgame. I'm meeting new clients, I'm meeting a new system, but in amongst that, there's new opportunities and new responsibilities, new financial pressures, with lots of new moving parts. And what nobody really tells you is when you say yes to expansion, you also say yes to complexity. So, yes to more decisions, yes to more responsibility, more humans, more money, more pressure, but more opportunities to grow and more opportunities to completely lose yourself if you're not paying attention. Because while all of that is happening, life does not pause. Magnetic Mama didn't pause. The writing, the podcast, the mothers, the stories, the conversations, the women who messaged me saying I needed that. Then there's Vitalify Unplugged, my other beautiful podcast with deep conversations, important conversations. And then on top of all of that, my greatest teachers, my girls, a tween and a teen. And honestly, watching them right now is super fascinating because at the moment we have a sport every single day and my girls are exploring and trying something new. And whilst I love it, because this is exactly what I believe adolescents should be doing, experimenting, trying things, failing, learning, belonging, not belonging, trying again, finding their groove and finding what lights them up, finding what are they naturally good at, finding where they need to grow or who they are without me telling them who they should be. So it's a really cool phase and I decided to buy a business. I know, right? So I still want to be able to hold space for that, even when it means something every single night after school. So as I said, this means every day of the week we have something after school. And even most days of the week we have something before school. So they are living and breathing their tween and teen years to the maximum. And I'm so proud of them and I love it. So even when I'm tired, even when I've still got emails to answer, even when dinner hasn't even been thought about and it's 6 o'clock at night, these moments matter. And today, after I chose not to attack my very long to-do list, I did something different. I went to Pilates at 9 o'clock instead of getting up at 6 and forcing myself to do it. I moved, I breathed, I shook some of the stress out of my body and it wasn't done. Instead of coming home and getting into my to-do list, I was like, I still don't feel ready. So I took the dog for a walk up to the park. Beautiful park, beautiful forest, nature, and I just let myself be there with my little dog. I love the smell of eucalyptus, air, the birds, the silence. And then I came home and I still did not do my to-do list. I had a shower, I washed my hair. Don't know if you can notice, but and I dried it. Also, not sure if you can notice, but and if you're a mum, you know that alone time is basically like a retreat. So I kept going. I made some cacao. I actually did light a candle and I sat in silence. My house is messy. I still don't have all the shopping done. And I started asking myself a bigger question. What am I actually doing? I've been on this healing journey, right? So what is healing? And what does that even mean to heal yourself? The healing journey that, is frequently discussed in social media and podcasts. So, I've listened to those and I have been influenced by those, but then asking myself that question, what does it even mean to me to be on this healing journey? And when I say healing, I mean, let me get into that, because if I'm honest, for years, I have used that word a lot. Healing. I'm healing. I've done so much healing. I'm on a healing journey. And whilst there's truth in that, I'm not actually sure that's the full story for me anymore, because healing can sometimes sound like there's something wrong with us, like we're broken, like there's something to fix. And maybe there was, but I don't always believe that people are broken. I actually think most people are really just adapting, integrating, remembering, recalibrating, unlearning, evolving. And maybe that's what I've been doing rather than trying to fix myself or becoming somebody else. I've just been becoming more aware of my body, more aware of my thoughts, and more aware of my patterns, and more aware of what happens when life gets loud. And then I start wondering, what are other people working through? Like, I actually think we're all working through something to some degree. And that's okay, because that's a human experience and we're all here to do that. I think, in my view, all of us, we're here working through what is our purpose on this planet and why are we here and what are we doing with our time and energy and where are we focusing it and why. So I know this is overthinking, my brain going into overdrive. But at the same time, by asking myself those questions, I have to stop and pause. And rather than bulldozing through to find the answer, I took the time to actually let it all go and just sit with the uncomfortableness of lots of things to do, but prioritizing my physical health, my emotional health and well-being, and even my connection and, dare I say it, spiritual well-being. Because when I tune in to nature or do some breathing and go inward and try and find a way to actually stop thinking, the quietness, the stillness is actually quite loud and overwhelming, and it can be uncomfortable. And therefore, a part of what has been happening for me is finding a way to balance all of this and stand in my truth, stand in my power, and be unapologetically and authentically me, and be okay with that, with the imperfections of what that looks like, because life gets messy and you can still thrive. So I'm pretty sure it's not just me. I do believe there are a lot of other people navigating something or other, and maybe some of us are unlearning things like people pleasing, me, perfectionism, me, conflict avoidance, me, over responsibility, me. But I'm sure there's other people learning that in their own way, and that the belief that our worth comes from being useful, please share with me if that's something that you believe, because I cannot be the only one. I am pretty sure there's lots of people out there who feel that our belief comes from our worth in being useful. Or maybe that's not it. Maybe for some of us, navigating raising teenagers, going through hormonal changes, your tweens and teens, and you. Maybe some of us are in perimenopause. Maybe some of us are having marriage troubles or difficulties, breakups, what have you. Maybe some of you are like me, buying businesses, and maybe there's issues with money or friendships or lack of friendships or changes in friendships. Maybe some of you have aging parents. Oh my God, that is a minefield, and managing your parents and seeing them from a different life. Or maybe some of you are going through grief of losing a friend, an auntie, a mother, a cousin, a family member, anyone, like maybe you're going through an identity change or exploring who you are in this season of life. Or maybe you're even just wondering, what the hell am I supposed to be doing here in this time at this moment, And maybe the things that helped us survive 20 years ago don't currently help us to thrive in this season of life. And that's okay. So here's a truth that I've discovered. My house is messy, like really messy. I have a mountain of washing. I haven't done a proper shop. Even though I've got food in my fridge and cupboards, none of it is pre-packeted, pre-made. So if we need or want anything, we have to make it ourselves. Much to my girls' disgust, I haven't quite got my meal prep ready. Actually, it's not even existing. My fridge needs a good clean. And there's pressure to choose convenience. Like, I'm busy. I could just go down to Woolies and buy a whole heap of packet food and fill up my kids' lunch boxes with whatever rubbish I can find so that I don't have to fix it, make it, attend to it. And that quick fix and the process stuff for me is a value that I have always valued. Nude food. Like, I'm an ex-school nurse. I used to coach all my kids about trying to bring in lunch boxes that don't have packaging and rubbish that can end up in the schoolyard, or usually because whatever's in them is highly processed, highly sugarized, and full of chemicals that make them want more. I have actively tried to avoid those types of foods and tried to make things as much as possible, but then that puts an extra pressure. Like, you have to be organized, which currently I'm not. So my kids are like, we're hungry. And I get that those things make life so much easier. But for me, it doesn't make life healthier. And when my kids eat those foods, I can feel it in their behavior, in their sleep. And because our normal has changed, and change creates ripples, sometimes tears, sometimes frustration, sometimes, "Mum, why don't we have any food in the fridge?" And you know what? That's okay. Because growth creates ripples, expansion creates mess, and new chapters create discomfort. And sometimes the family system gets a little wobbly before it finds a new rhythm. So if you're listening to this right now and your life is feeling messy and your house feels chaotic and your calendar feels heavy and your nervous system feels stretched, and you're wondering, am I doing enough? Am I dropping all my balls? Am I failing? I want you to hear this. You are allowed to feel overwhelmed. You are allowed to feel stretched. You are allowed to feel messy. Just don't let that mess become your identity. Don't let that overwhelm steal your creativity. Don't let that pressure disconnect you from yourself. And don't wait until burnout flattens you to listen. Trust me, it hurts way more. Maybe adulthooding isn't about having it all together. Actually, I know being an adult and being a parent isn't about having it all together. I know that being an adult is learning how to come home to yourself again and again and again. And each time it might look a little different, but that's okay because that's evolution. One breath, one boundary, one honest conversation, one imperfect day at a time. So I just want to say that by giving myself permission today to be in the mess, completely imperfect, and acknowledging the overwhelm and the overstimulation, to bring myself back to a place where I can be unapologetically, authentically me, and everybody just has to deal with it. And I mean that in the nicest possible way. I do not have any intentions for anyone to go out there and be, I'm going to be unapologetically me, which means I can go around and like trash stuff, say things, be this, be that. And if you do, good for you. But what I mean is, like, we don't have to do all the things we're expected to do and do it perfectly every single time. Like, give yourself a break a bit. Go for a walk. Take some deep breaths, sip some cacao, whatever it is that works for you to help you bring back into a sense of calm without spiraling into overwhelm. Catching that burnout before it happens is so key to being able to hold all the things that you want to hold in your life and then enabling your kids to do the same. You are modeling what it means to be kind and compassionate to yourself. And when you're kind and compassionate to yourself, that ripples outwards, like the ripple effect. You end up being naturally kind and compassionate to others. And I think that's a really beautiful world for our kids to grow up in. So, all you magnetic mamas and papas, wherever you are, in the mess or in the magic or in the middle or in none of it, you're not alone. I will see you next time.
Thanks for tuning in to Magnetic Mama. Remember, your calm is contagious. Breathe deep, soften your shoulders, and keep loving through the messy middle. I'm Steph, your Magnetic Mama. See you next time.